So, Grammy, how did you feel when you found out that Grandpa was going away to war, was going to be, had enlisted?
Well, I was kind of, it was happening every day. My brother had just left, so I was kind of used to all the boys leaving and going off to war and all that. So it was just the way it was in those days. And my brother went, I think, two months before you did. So I remember going down to the train depot with my mother and father and seeing him off, and then 2 months later, he was drafted and he went off. So I was kind of, expecting it.
How old were you then?
I was 18.
I guess so.
Yeah, I was 18.
So what did you do while he was gone and while...
Well, I worked. I was working, and I had my friends, my girlfriends. We were teenagers, and we kind of took it all in stride, and always watching the news. And I'd write to my brother, and I'd write to Stanley.
How often did you get letters back from them?
Oh, you wrote pretty often.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I get some letters. You want to see them?
Yeah.
Show them the letters.
Not right now.
Not right now. Not right now.
Once we finish this. Alright, this talks about rationing.
Oh, yeah.
What do you know? What do you remember about that?
Like I say, I was a teenager. It was mostly my mother, my parents that were involved in that. I didn't do too much of that. I didn't do the shopping, so I wasn't aware so much. Because I was a teenager then and didn't think
Those were days of rationing,
Yeah, but it was.
They only got a pound of meat a week.
Yeah, my mother was involved in that.
But you were kind of used to that because of the depression, right?
Yeah, it was kind of a way, it became like kind of a way of life, and we just,
We didn't worry
being
about-
teenagers, we took it all in stride,
Nobody had the automobiles then.
No, we didn't, we were pretty well grounded.
What do you remember hearing about the war? What are some of your memories of?
Well, I remember every morning my father would tune in on the news, first thing in the morning. I remember waking up and hearing my father muttering about things, how things were going, and worried about my brother. And he would listen, because then it was radio, no TV. And he'd be there glued to the radio and getting all the news every morning. I'd wake up to that. And like I say, he was worried about my brother being away. My brother then was in France with the army, and he worried about him, so he tuned in every morning, and that was the way it was in those days. He'd hear the radio in the morning. My father worried about my brother, and we kind of lived that way, worried about the war.
Do you have any memories of D-Day or any of those?
Oh yeah, everything went. Everybody went crazy. Everybody was out on the streets and hugging each other and all that. It was crazy, really. We were living then. We were living on Oak Street. Yeah, I remember going out and everybody was shouting and laughing and hugging and dancing in the streets. It was crazy. It was a happy day.
What did you do? So when Grandpa, when did your, so what was it, 1945 when
Yeah, they all
came
started
back?
coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you came back before Henry, a couple of months. He went in a couple of months before you, but you came back a couple of months before him. Happened that way, just happened.
So how did you adjust to life once everyone came back? How was it? Was it strange
Yeah,
all
it
of a
was
sudden?
an adjustment because all of a sudden, gee, all the boys were back, and it was just different. And things started happening. They looking for jobs, and you got a job right away. And Henry did too. It was really a good time. Those were good times then.
What do you think are some good lessons for today's generation that you learned from your experiences during the war and even during the Depression? What have you
Oh.
carried with you through your life?
Oh, well, let me see.
Both, the question for both of you. You too,
Yeah.
Grandpa.
Was I there again?
How did your experience with the war, how did that affect the rest of your life, and what lessons do you think are important that you learned from that experience?
Well, I think to this day, I still make do with what I've got, because I learned to do that when we were little. We had to make do with what we had, and I still have that way about me.
I learned that life, your friends, past friends, new friends, existing friends, are an important part of your life. After you lose some of them, you realize it's like losing part of your life. Your friends, it's hard to explain, but it seems like it's part of your living. Part of your living has disappeared. Part of your everyday life has changed. It's appreciate your new friends, your new family, your old friends. Appreciate life in general.
All right. What else? What else could you tell me? Anything you can think of? Just like memories of that time and
The less
from
we
both
have to
you.
tell you, you haven't got time left.
Well,
Yeah, it's gonna take years. You'll have to quit your job.
I know that.
You'll have to quit your job and come here every day for the next 10 years.
All I know is that World War II was supposed to be the last war, take care of everything, and since then we've had one war after another. Just goes to show you, war doesn't, it's just not the answer. It's not the way to go.